picks in his first couple of games as well. So look, they will be able to figure this thing out, but it is time for our rookie report card segment here on Move the Sticks Monday. And Bucky, let's start with the #1 overall pick. You're going to be on Trevor Lawrence all season long here for us. What did you see here against the Broncos?
I'm going to give him a D, and I'm going to give him a D for his efforts because he was really all over the place. Trevor Lawrence was trying to do too much. And when we talk about trying to do too much, trying to put all of the responsibilities of playmaking on his shoulders as opposed to relying on his teammates to be able to make plays. Now, part of that is his teammates haven't been good enough for him, and that has really stunted his growth in terms of being able to do it. The other thing, Urban Meyer said in the post-game presser that he wanted Trevor Lawrence to learn how to play NFL quarterback. So they didn't put a lot of Clemson concepts and the Clemson playbook in the game plan. And so he is trying to learn how to do all NFL stuff on the fly against tough defenses, and we're seeing the struggles come because Trevor Lawrence is in unfamiliar territory. As a result, he is struggling right now.
One thing it also reminds you is you earned the #1 pick by being a really bad football team.
Yeah. Is there a solve for this Jaguars offense before we move on here? How do we make it more
Not based off what Bucky just said, because
Yeah.
to me the solve is you go back and make him comfortable doing things he did in college.
And you know, when you saw that in the preseason, we got a chance to watch it. They did some of that stuff. Bubble screens, bootlegs, play action. Now he just played a straight drop back game. That is not his game. And so we'll see how long they continue to stay on that path. I worry about them losing him in terms of his game and his confidence.
Let's move on to Zach Wilson. And look, he had a rough start in week 1, but was able to kind of bounce back. Boy, it's hard to bounce back from 3 early first-half interceptions. What'd you see from the second pick?
I like to think of myself as a fair grader, not overly negative or positive. I don't know how you give anything other than an F.
Right.
You throw 4 picks. I mean, to me, the decision-making was a major question mark. The positive sign is you do see some flashes. He made a couple throws where he escaped and made some big-time throws. I guess his velocity readings this week were as high as anybody in the NFL. He's got a huge arm. There's a lot to work with. But, I mean, this has happened in the NFL before where you have 4 interceptions 75 times since 2012. Teams are 4-71.
Yeah.
So that equates to 5.3% chance of winning a football game when you turn it over. So that's why you get the grade that you get. But, again, I'm anxious to see this week, Buck, coming off of the adversity he faced this week. What do we see from Zach Wilson next week is going to tell me a lot about him.
Well, I want to know because Zach Wilson is texting me. He wants to know, do you have office hours? He wants to know if he can make up the grade, if he can come in and talk to you. Maybe he can get that up to
open door policy.
Oh, right? Come on in. Come on in.
But they got to find a way to get the hands get the ball in the hands of some of their playmakers there with.
They had a couple drops too. There was a couple drops.
Corey, one of those interceptions kind of went through Corey Davis's hands a little.
You going to jump in on here? Get your grade book out?
Let's go. I'm going to open up my grade book with my red pen and hand out Mac Jones, who I think we gave an A to week 1, slightly lower this week. I didn't think this was a bad week for Mac Jones. Just wasn't as good as week 1. I'm going to end up giving him a B. And here's what we like about Mac Jones. Same things we said about him last week, and we said about him coming, into the draft. From pre-snap to snap to execution, man, as quick and efficient as there is. And again, operated smooth within the framework of the Patriots offense. Had one of these gadget plays, which was great. I mean, Josh McDaniels always pulls out one of those in a game. But there was a particular play on a third down in the second quarter, right there to Jacoby Myers. You see it pre-snap. He knows what he's getting. He sees the coverage. He makes some audibles, lets the receivers know what's going on, and then he IDs it, and then executes a perfectly dropped deep ball to Jacoby Myers. And it's like, all right, he's putting it all together. The thing he struggled with here was pressure. They really missed Trent Brown at right tackle. I think they had Herron and Durant in there alternating at right tackle. He was getting pressure off the right side almost immediately throughout this game and kind of struggled. That's where some of his errant throws went. Took some snacks that maybe he didn't have to here, DJ.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, though, he's playing an efficient brand of football.
Yeah,
the Patriots
that's
want.
winning football right now.
We do have another rookie.
Let's get to it
about here because Justin Fields, we saw him get some action with the injury to Andy Dalton. So when I went back and watched that tape, I penciled in a B- as my grade for Justin Fields. And look, one thing, that ball is live. It jumps out of his hand. He can really drive the football. If not for some drops, I put the exclamation point on there because if he has a couple of those balls caught, this day would look much better and he probably ends up with a higher grade. The negative, Buck, is something we talked about a lot in the run-up to the draft. There's times he's just got to speed it up a little bit, holding the ball, taking some sacks, just be a little bit more urgent with your decision-making.
Yeah, you wonder if he'll play faster next week if he gets an opportunity to start because Nagy will have an opportunity to build a game plan around what Fields does and does really well. And so maybe they'll be more aggressive with some of the quick underneath throws. But yes, he's a solid player. B- is incredible. I'll take that. No need to knock on your office door.
Hey,
I'm good with that.
my report cards were littered with C+ and B-, man.
Yeah, and look, this is not how Bears fans, I think, wanted to see Justin Fields. Nobody will see Andy Dalton go down with an injury, and Matt Nagy saying he's not sure. They avoided a major injury. It's not structural damage with the ACL, the MCL, so they're going to find out what Andy Dalton is going to be available for going into this week. But it was kind of odd. Like, he wouldn't commit to
But he did afterwards. After the press conference, the PR person for the Bears came out and said, if healthy, Andy Dalton is the starter.
There you go.
So we cleared it all up.
He did it. Yeah, he was worried about divulging who would start because it was like a scheme issue. I don't know. We're gonna continue. See, hopefully we can give Justin Fields another grade.